Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Kanan, for the nice introduction. We feel very humbled. By the way, first of all, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to this summit. I feel deeply honored. This is a fantastic show here. I'm excited to be here, and I plan to learn a lot from this summit here. By the way, my topic, I'm going to change gears. We have been talking about transmission all the time. Generation all the time. I want to shift the gears to transmission. My expertise is transmission. And why transmission? Because there's so much going on in the transmission area. There's so much excitement. Some of the drivers for the transmission. Kanan, where is that thing? Is there? This one? Yeah. This one. Okay, thank you.
Make sure it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, it's working. So some of the main drivers for transmission are, first is, you must have heard about clean power plant, where they're retiring big generators, coal-fired generators, and replacing with new generation. That's a big issue. Second is aging infrastructure. All the transmission system is 50 years old, so there's a lot of changes in the transmission. Third is generation mix. Renewables coming, wind coming, solar coming. Transmission is not designed for it, so that's another area. SIP standards, and I can keep on going on. There's so much going on. FERC Order 1000, that's one other thing which is going to impact us. So a lot of excitement going in transmission area. By the way, to just let you know, it is estimated that US will spend $2 trillion in next 10 to 15 years on modernizing the transmission grid. So that gives you some idea how much is going on in the transmission area. So basically, my presentation will focus on three areas. What is the disruptive technology? What is the impact? And what are the utilities doing or reacting to it and addressing the issues? Okay. So these are some of the renewable technologies shown on this slide. You have photovoltaic PV, electric vehicles, storage, and also included wind, because wind is a big factor in this game. And there are other small technologies there which I'm not going to discuss. We are going to focus mostly on solar and wind. By the way, next few slides shows the status of solar energy. This is a very important slide. It gives you some idea of what is the capacity of wind, solar, and storage as of 2015. The wind, you can see, is connected capacity 75 gigawatts. Solar is 24 gigawatts. Again, these are approximate numbers. And PV is 24 gigawatts, and storage is about 1 gigawatt. But that's of 2015. With the passage or recent, there's investment tax credit being extended, there's so much potential for growth in this area. Especially, I'm seeing that there's PV and storage are going to take off at a big level. Wind may be more stagnant, but at least it will grow. So all the three technologies have a lot of potential, basically. And this shows electric vehicles. As of 2015, there were 400,000 vehicles on the road. And with the battery technology improving and getting better and better, next few years, you'll see a lot more electric cars on the road. And again, that's going to impact how the grid system operates. So by the way, this is Entergy transmission system. Just to give you a brief idea, Entergy is an investor-owned utility located in New Orleans, Louisiana. We serve 4 states, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. Our load is about 25,000 megawatts, and our generation is total is around 40,000 megawatts. Our backbone, let's see here, sorry. The blue line is showing is a 500 kV system. We have about 2,500 miles of 3,000 miles of 500 kV system, and a lot of 115 kV. To our east is TVA, which is a very big company, and also Southern company. And to our west is AEP, another big company. So we're well surrounded by big companies, okay? The reason I'm showing this slide, because I have some projects which are going on in Entergy, and I want to share with you. The top one is known as HVDC. Although I call it a HVDC project, it's a wind project, a huge wind project, a unique project. I'm going to talk about it. Here is the storage, which is about 100 megawatts being designed by Nextra Energy, who are big into PV and solar. And finally, we have a small PV and storage in the south. These are all pretty much approved. There are a lot on the paper which are coming up, but these are approved. The problem here we have is the places they're going, the system is not designed. The system was designed 30, 40 years ago for a traditional transmission, generation, and load. And these are going at places which are weak, which have problems, and pretty much depleting the stability of the system. We have voltage stability problems, we are going to have transient stability problems, we're going to have frequency issues. The challenge is, are they going at the right place, and what we can do about it? The only thing we can do about it is build transmission, And that's why we're shifting a paradigm from a traditional planning to more what we call a holistic planning, and looking at a bigger picture to accommodate these technologies on the system. So this is what we call a clean line project, okay? And as you see, all the wind is on the west side in the Oklahoma area, and the load is on the east. Clean Line Energy wants to build a 700 miles of HVDC line and transfer almost 4,000 megawatts from east to west, bipolar DC multi-terminal. Not only are they transferring the power, they plan to connect here to our system and inject 600 megawatts and serve our system. Cost of this project, $2 billion, huge project, strong company, moving forward, they're getting environmental clearances, they're planning HVDC. So just to give you an idea from a wind side, what is going to happen to the transmission system. So these are some of the impacts of adding either solar or wind or storage on the system. First is scheduling and dispatch, big issue. As you know, forecasting is always a challenging issue. You don't know how much wind is going to run on a given day. You don't know how much solar is going to run on a given day. And it's also varying. So the question is how much reserves you keep on your system. What are the spinning reserves? That's always a challenge. Then frequency adequacy and system flexibility. I'm going to show you a slide on that. Voltage also is a big issue. System voltage and frequency, because they're changing constantly, and you need some sort of a dynamic support or a strong system to handle. I'm not talking about Entergy, I'm talking about general in the US what is going on, especially in WEC. And like my friend Hardev Jug has said, BP has several challenges with wind generation, okay? So this is one example of what happens when you lose a big solar or a wind generation. You can see the frequency is on the vertical scale, the time is on the horizontal scale. You lose a big generator, big unit, the frequency drops and recovers very slowly. So within this short time, you need to make up wind generation by some other conventional generation, which is very challenging. Now, why frequency is so important? Because if the frequency goes below a certain level, then you're going to lose loads. Not only you're going to lose loads, but you're going to damage some of the equipment like turbines, motors. So you don't want frequency to go below a certain level. So that's why the dispatching is very challenging with the wind generation. Okay.
2 minutes, Sharma.
Okay. So thanks. So what are utilities doing about it? Okay. So these are what we call adopting new grid initiatives. Okay, and this is a slide I took from EPRI because we work very closely with EPRI. EPRI stands for Electric Power Research Institute, and so basically the 4 initiatives: operate the system securely and effectively, say prevent blackouts, cascading, that's what it means. Extract the most from existing assets. That pretty much tells you that let lines carry more power, use them to the maximum extent. We see a lot of 500 kV lines only 50% loaded, you know. You need to use technology and push more power on the lines. Also have a good maintenance practices, okay. And third is plan a reliable, affordable system for the future. Basically what I'm saying here, have good tools, change the planning approach, adopt new methods, get new data. So, and that's what we are doing, you know. And finally, construct high performance assets. What we are doing here, we're using superconductors or like ACCC, ACSR, ACCR, which can withstand high temperatures and carry maybe 1.5 times the capacity. So once we achieve these 4 initiatives, this is what we get: a reliable, robust, resilient, scalable, and flexible and efficient transmission system. But that's the goal. That's where we are heading towards. I'm going to skip this slide. This is a traditional planning approach. This is what we do in the past. You know, we have a load, we have a generation, we identify problems, and we come up with a solution. Straightforward, very simple, but this doesn't work in now today's economy or today's conditions. And we are going towards the holistic planning. Holistic planning means look at the global view. Take all the factors into consideration: reliable, economics, maintenance, operations, and come up with a project which serves all these needs. That's the holistic planning. That's what we are moving towards. We want big projects looking 10, 20 years into the future, not today, not a piecemeal fix, okay? And again, the last thing is technology. You know, building lines is not easy, so you have to adopt technology. Some of the technologies are shown here, like series capacitors. I'm sure you are using HVDC, great technology to move power over long distances. Static var compensators, we have STATCOMs, we have all this. But the one thing I want to point out is PMUs. PMUs, phasor measurement units. I know India is putting a lot of phasor measurement units. We have 100 on our system. There are about 2,000 all over US. They pretty much tell what is going on in the system. They warn the operators what actions to take, what is going on, what to do about it. Very important, and this is going to play a big role in next few years. PMUs, okay?
To wrap up.
And finally, last slide. So this is what we are envisioning. Going forward, an integrated grid, a modern grid, and which is flexible, accommodative, move the generation from east to west, you know, fully transparent. That's what is the goal here. And that's why transmission is very important. You know, we talk about renewables on the distribution side, but eventually everything affects transmission. And transmission is going to play a big role in the future. Thank you very much.